Welcome back to Fanopy Growth. I'm your host Jacob, and today we're going to be going over Canopy again, just like we do every week. So if you're new to the channel, we go over Canopy Growth Corporation every week, ticker symbol CGC on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. And so we got some news here since we last spoke. One thing that was interesting, Canopy Growth brand Tokyo Smoke to open 9 more stores in Ontario. So that's good to see that we're increasing our footprint in Canada, which is expanding actually. So through our franchise model, we're proud to support local independent business owners and entrepreneurs, and so that's what they're doing. They got Tokyo Smoke opening up these stores, which is going to be nice. Um, Another thing that we want to look at here, so one of the biggest things here is that cannabis stocks soar as Georgia Senate elections boost investor hopes for decriminalization. So on I think it was January 5th, we had the Senate runoff. And so this is very nice for cannabis people, especially just because the Senate is now going to have a chance to be Democratic, so that we can try to get some of these things passed as far as, you know, states' rights, permissibility, you know, full legalization federally, or even if it's a states' rights thing, or whatever we can get, Safe Banking Act, the MORE Act, different things that are being pressed upon right now. So we can look at some of what they said here. So excuse me, Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff won their races, so that was a big thing. I was kind of hesitant that night. I didn't know what was going to happen, but because I seen they were down a little bit, but I'm glad that we rallied and we were able to get that win for cannabis. So they talk about it here that, you know, so they all the companies soared. They talk about the different states that were passing things. So, we want to try to get all the states involved, at least the ones that are interested in it. So, so that was a big thing. Let's take a look at what other article we have here. This was another interesting thing that I seen. So, Canopy Growth confident it will enter the U.S. within a year, said the CEO David Klein. So, I think this was very interesting. So he said within a year. He's been kind of alluding to how, maybe a year or two, and I think he's more um, quickly thinking about it now. So he's saying, so what we really need is, a combination of the safe banking, a revised Cole memorandum, and a reclassification by the executive branch, all of which probably happens in the next 6 to 8 months anyway, Klein said. So we're pretty confident we'll be operating in the U.S. a year from now. So we feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty good about that too, David. It's been a long time coming, and we're happy to be ready to come in to the U.S., which would be a very big market here. So talk about how the Democratic has stated their intent to either decriminalize or legalize. You know, so they talk about the Safe Banking Act, which would allow federally regulated banks and other financial services to conduct business such as lending and accepting deposits with cannabis companies. So this is a very important thing as well, that we all need to know, that we need to have access to the banks, because um, it's not safe to have all this cash on hand at some of these marijuana or cannabis stores and whatnot, and they can't really use that much banking, so it's very hard for them to do that right now. So that's what's holding Canopy back from really jumping in as well. So they say it's likely to be reintroduced in Congress in 2021 for a formal vote, and an analyst said. So the Cole Memorandum, it's saying, was a document written by Deputy Attorney General James M. Cole in 2013 that said that the Justice Department would not enforce federal prohibition in states that legalize marijuana in some form. So that's like a states' rights thing, which is great. So once it's passed, it would open the door for Canadian companies like Canopy Growth and some others like a Free Aurora to enter the U.S. market. Okay, so analysts say Canopy will have an advantage over its Canadian counterparts in the U.S. since it holds warrants to acquire multi-state operator Acreage Holdings no later than 60 days after cannabis is federally permissible. Excuse me. In the U.S., Canopy also has a 21% stake in TerrAscend, another major U.S. cannabis player. So this is something else we talked about a little bit. TerrAscend, this is a U.S. company that Canopy owns 21% now. They just increased their share a little bit. So I think that's a positive note that they are interested in the company. TerrAscend is profitable. Acreage has a really good path to profitability with their new CEO. The new CEO, which we talked about, uh, is Peter Caldini, and Caldini comes from Pfizer, and he's gonna get us in line so that we can make money here and take over. So they have new markets opening up literally over the next couple of months. So as long as they continue to do that work, we can acquire them at the end of the calendar year. What? Oh yeah, Anchorage has a really good path to profitability with their new CEO. They have new markets opening up literally over the next couple of months. So as long as they continue to do that work, we can acquire them at the end of the calendar year. Okay. When asked if Canopy had plans to further invest in the Canadian cannabis market, Klein said that he considered the right additions, but remains likely to focus his attention on the U.S. market, which is roughly 9 times the size of Canada's. Whoa, 9 times? I thought maybe it was like a third or a fourth of the size. 9 times? Whoa. Okay. We like what we hear there. So we're open to them, but they have to be acquisitions that actually add something to our portfolio from either a product category or a brand or something that we're missing, he said. And there isn't a lot of white space in our portfolio in Canada, to be honest. So Klein added Canopy is also working closer than ever with its main financial backer, Constellation Brands. Alcohol Giant owns 38% of the Smith Falls, Ontario-based company. Constellation owns warrants in Canopy valued at $50.40 per share that would give it majority control of the firm if exercised before they expire in 2023. Constellation would like to be in a position to exercise those warrants, Klein said, adding that the cash that the warrants would bring in would help Canopy compete in the U.S. market. We're not quite at the striking price of those warrants yet, so clearly they wouldn't do it. Okay, so we gotta boost this thing up here, I guess. All right, that's nice. All right, let's see what else we got. Canopy Growth is the best play on U.S. cannabis legalization. So this is from Investor Place. Uh, Wayne Duggan, Investor Place contributor. Sorry, I didn't name those other guys before, but let's hope we can all get famous here. All right. So Canopy Growth, not famous but rich. All right, or wealthy. Canopy Growth stock has rallied 92% in the past 3 months. Much of that optimism has come in response to Democrat Joe Biden's election victory. There you go. We talk about this stuff already. We have blue optimism. All right. So a full-on Democratic Senate victory and election sweep is bullish for CGC investors. Cantor Fitzgerald analyst Pablo Zuanic says Democrats are now well positioned to at least give the U.S. multi-state operators access to a certain degree of financing they need to grow their businesses. All right. So, however, the U.S. MSOs would still be operating businesses that are illegal at federal level. They will also be they also still be ineligible to trade on major U.S. stock exchanges for now, unless banking reform contains provisions related to the U.S. stock trading, which I think they should. In the meantime, any institutional investors or funds that want exposure to the U.S. cannabis space can't buy over-the-counter stocks must figure out the best workaround. The obvious choice is CGC stock. U.S. exposure. Canopy is the largest of the major Canadian legal cannabis producers, both revenue and market share. The Canadian cannabis market has fallen well short of investor expectations in recent years. An oversupplied market has created pricing pressures. Underfunded stocks have been forced to, like Aurora, have been forced to issue repeated dilutive equity offerings with increasingly unfavorable terms. But as ugly as the Canadian market, the Canadian cannabis market has gotten, the U.S. market is as pretty as ever. Canopy management seemingly recognized the value of the U.S. market early and made an aggressive move. In 2019, which was Bruce was at the helm when this was kind of struck up, and the Canopy announced a $3.4 billion conditional buyout of U.S. MSO Acreage Holdings. It later amended that buyout deal last summer to include an even more favorable pricing for Canopy. The buyout is only official if the U.S. legalizes marijuana on a federal level. The Acreage deal essentially gives Canopy a head start in the U.S. market. Acreage already operates in more than a dozen U.S. states. In December, Canopy went back to the well. Yeah, so they're announcing another conditional ownership stake in Terracin. We talked about Terracin, 21%. We know that. All right. So we're not starting from scratch. We're ready once legalization occurs. All right. Immediately have brand recognition as soon as the U.S. moves to legalize. In the meantime, the conditional nature of the buyout helps insulate Canopy from financial risk. All right. So the best in class Canadian play, they say. I agree. The conditional investments in Acreage and Terracin are just two examples of the savvy of Canopy management and its biggest financial backer. Alright, Constellation Brands. Alright, and make no mistake, Constellation is running the show. Constellation even went as far as giving Canopy's existing CEO the boot and appointing Constellation's former CFO take his place. Kind of a boss move, I would say. But, I do love Bruce, but, they wanted what was best for the company that they felt for their money, which was invested. So, all other LPs would presumably have to buy their way in at likely higher prices. We think Canopy would have somewhat of a first mover advantage given the contingent stakes in Acreage and Terracin. So they talk about how to play it, buy the stock. That's how you play it, basically. But that was pretty good. I like that that article. So we come back to Canopy here. So we had some good movement since we last talked, guys. I don't know, sometime around here, but we hit that 30 mark. That was beautiful, 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 beautiful. In the making when we hit 30. When was the last time we hit 30, guys? Not this year. How about year to date? January 7th or January 6th. We didn't hit 30 before then. How about the last 5 years? Last 5 years? Oh, I didn't get in back there, but we started getting in around 18, so 2018. So we haven't been since 30 since, let's see, 30, not there, not there, since around August of 2019. I think that was right around when Bruce left. And, I wish I would have known we were going to do this dance once Bruce left. Because I could have got out and got back in more than I did. But, these are the breaks. And, we live and we learn. But I think we look good on that 5 year. We look really good, I think. Really good, I think. Now, I might be biased, but hey, to each his own. And this is Fanopy Growth, and we do appreciate you guys checking us out. We had some crazy stuff going on in the U.S., which everybody probably knows and is talking about it with the White House and everything. And that's a very scary situation. But I think that there are brighter days ahead for all of us. Everybody likes to, uh, you know, everybody likes to get along and have a good time, and I think that cannabis can help. So good luck to all, and have a great rest of your weekend here. Next week we'll be ready to go. Next week, let's see, Monday is going to be, so today is Friday the 8th, so Saturday the 9th, and Sunday the 10th, and so 11th, Monday. So we'll see you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and good luck to everybody. Let's go cannabis, let's go canopy, and let's go Fanopy growth. Take care.